I'm Lauren.
I'm Audrey.
And I'm Brent, and welcome back to Only Child Energy. We have guests with us today.
Who are they?
Do you want to say who you are real quick?
Yeah, hi, I'm Tate.
I'm Chloe.
And we are all in a production of Footloose, the musical, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Woo woo.
Yes.
If you are in the area and you would like to see Footloose, we will be performing April 19th to 26th at the Junction City Opera House. We'll put link to the times, ticket info, all that kind of stuff in the description. In the doobly-doo, as Lauren says, and we still don't know what it means. Also, we should say Chloe's like a super fan of our podcast. I think you're the only one that watches it all the way through.
I've never missed one.
And now you're part of the magic. How does it feel?
Amazing.
Awesome. Cool. Well, to warm you all up to the podcast, we thought we'd play a little bit of a game. So Audrey, Lauren, and I each have a story about something that's happened to us in theater, except one of us is lying. One of our stories is fake. And your jobs are to figure out who that person is. Cool?
Also, play at home if you would like to.
Yes. Say something in the comments. Did you figure it out? Did you not? We want to know. We want to know. All right. Which of us wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay. Go for it.
They are all theater related.
Yes.
To give you a little preface for it,
Mhm.
I was once in a production of Oklahoma where they used live horses, and one of the horses had an accident on stage, of which then the main character proceeded to slip and fall in during his number.
Mm-hmm.
Gross.
I can see that happening. That's definitely true. That's gotta be.
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee
That
it.
could happen.
That could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Horses do tend to use the number 2 or number 1, whichever one he slipped in.
Fair. And where were you on stage when that happened?
So this one, I was not on stage, I was off stage, but I did witness it, and it was number 2, and you could smell it.
Oh.
Where was this? Like, what was
So it was a theater in
What
Oklahoma.
state?
It was indoors.
Okay.
However, they would just open the side garage to let
in the
the
animals?
load in. They had like similar to Junctions. They had this huge
Uh-huh.
garage off to the side, and they just walked it across
Mm-hmm.
and walked it back.
Wait, and what was the show
Oklahoma.
in Oklahoma?
Mhm.
That's pretty
Fitting, right?
fitting, actually. My
Like-
biggest question is, how do you slip on horse poop? Like, I feel like you would notice that.
You're
right?
dancing.
Oh,
You're
okay.
dancing, and it was during the scene change, and nobody had time to warn him, and nobody had time to clean it,
Oh no.
and they did have to hold.
And how old were you during that?
That one was I was still a child, so I wasn't like a lead role in that one. I was just off to the side.
All right. So was this true? Was there a live horse, and did it poop on stage? Audrey, tell us your story.
Of course you're going to laugh.
Of course I am.
Anyway, I was in a production where it was a very small cast, and by small I mean there's just 4 of us. And one of the women in the show didn't know what her line, so bad to the point that it got to Wednesday of Tech Week, and our director sent us an email that was like, "Hey, so we all know that so and so's been having some problems." So she's gonna wear an earpiece during the show. I was like, okay, cool. But the thing about wearing an earpiece is that you're awkwardly waiting for delay. You're waiting for the line to be fed to you. And sometimes she would jump ahead of the line, even though it's you don't know what your lines are. That's why we're doing this. It was very frustrating because we were supposed to have an argument. And you know what's more awkward in an argument is when you're waiting for a 3-second delay because someone's getting their line fed to them.
Mhm.
Also, she never remembered any of her blocking. I was like, "You're supposed to go over here," and she's like, "No, I'm not." And I was like, "How would you know?"
As always, Audrey goes on a tangent against someone she hates that wasn't necessary to the story. If it's real.
Oh my
What do y'all think?
I think the most unbelievable part of that is the director calling out the person by name.
Yeah,
That's
sending a whole
crazy.
cast email.
Like,
That's
whoa.
wild.
Because that, I mean, you always get directors some of us are messing
Yeah.
up our lines, and you all know it's just one person who's messing up.
Mhm. So did a cast member for Audrey's have to wear an earpiece during a show? Okay, and I'll tell my story last. So I was in a production, and it was weird because there were a couple cast members who had a concert one of the performance nights, and so there were 3 understudies who performed one night only, and they did not get a rehearsal for this. So one night only, no rehearsal. one of those understudies has basically one big scene in which they convey a really critical plot detail that a character has been murdered by my character. Okay, so critical plot detail. They did not come on stage. And I'm sitting in the wings like, this is majorly important. We have to get to that point, or the rest of the show cannot happen. And so I go on stage with that actress and improvise a scene in which I confess to being a murderer to her directly.
Oh no.
And as I'm confessing my murder, they finally come on stage and she just says, "Not now." And he had to exit. And I need to clarify, I feel no ill will towards this person. Like, it was not their fault. There was a lot of situations, but that's why I'm not scared of improv, because I had to improvise my way through a very critical plot point.
You said yes, and
I did. So what do you think about that story so far, y'all?
I think I was there.
I-
For the-
I think
I think I could say the show, and I think I witnessed that. Because I was like, I don't remember that being part of this show. I've seen this show before.
We'll talk after and see. Again, we don't know if it's real or not.
I
But
guess.
yeah.
I think that one's true.
that one's definitely true.
Yeah, and now I'm thinking back on every single one that I thought was true. I'm like, oh, that's probably true.
Yeah. So you all have the final moment to decide which of us is lying. We'll reveal one by one for you all.
So Lauren's is super generic, right? Like, I could see a horse just pooping on stage. That could be easy to come up with. Audrey's is like, I've never seen an earpiece in theaters. I don't know. Like that I get the delay thing. That would be really hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
But Brent's, I think that was true. I think I watched that one.
He's like, that's out for me.
Do you want to start?
These two.
Do you want to start by having me reveal?
no,
Yes.
no, they
Well,
have
no,
to
like-
think
oh.
the guess.
What if she's
Yeah.
wrong? What if we're wrong?
No,
Yeah.
Okay.
what is your guess? You have to lock in a guess now.
What do you?
Jeopardy rules.
I also think Audrey's is the hardest to believe that they did an earpiece for her.
Mhm.
It's
So
just
that
the calling a single person out
That one,
to
yeah.
the whole cast.
I'm like, oh,
If
okay.
that one's true, that's absolutely feral.
Wow. So you're locking in on
I'm gonna lock in on a different one. I'm gonna go with Lauren just
Okay.
because I just can't imagine someone slipping on horse poop. Like, I would see that. Even dancing, I don't have my eyes closed when I dance,
Yeah.
so I feel like I would see horse poop. I don't
That's
know.
fair.
So I'm gonna go with just for a little
So
difference.
you're all locking in
Okay.
separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll reveal first. Yes, it was real.
Yeah,
It was
I
real.
thought so.
It
I
was
feel like I
real.
had heard that story before.
Yeah, and I was like, as you said, I was like, I think we might have talked about it on the
I
podcast
think
at one
we
point.
have.
So being a super fan helped you win that part. At least. Audrey, was your story real or was it not?
It was real.
All the way to the calling out detail.
There was only 4 of us, and the thing was, he
I forgot.
didn't send an email, obviously,
Yeah.
to her. He sent it to the rest of us in the
Everybody
cast.
but her.
Because they had talked about it like that night, and then he sent the email, and we were like, okay, cool. Glad, I guess. Because literally, it was Wednesday of Tech Week, and she still she was still holding her book. And I was like, what are we doing?
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
Do you mind saying what show?
No.
No.
We'll tell you after.
Yeah.
And
I
Lauren,
To point out, I've just not done a production of Oklahoma, but that did happen in a production that I witnessed.
so Lauren was just not involved.
Lauren
with
wasn't there.
Yeah, I thought Oklahoma and Oklahoma was too fitting.
They did it in Oklahoma.
Throw me up a little bit. I was like, that's a little
Mhm.
funny.
It was in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, so it's like, let's do Oklahoma, like we're in
I
Kansas.
was just
Let's
like-
do Wizard of Oz. Like,
No, this is my dad's biggest pet peeve is that I have not been in Oklahoma.
As an Oklahoman?
Yeah,
Did you say that? Oklahoman?
yeah,
Oklahomian?
yeah. Nope, you're not
Oklahomian?
Oh, just go.
Oklahomian?
And they actually, I mean, you call us Okies, but
Okies.
okay. Well, you don't.
Cool. Well, congrats, Tate. You have won the game. How do you feel about yourself now?
I get a prize.
High five.
You get
Yes.
satisfaction knowing you're right.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, let's talk about Footloose a little bit.
Because everybody cut.
Gosh. So yeah. Does anyone want to just give us a brief rundown of what Oklahoma? I'm fixed on this Oklahoma.
Oklahoma
On what
is
Footloose is
It is based off of a town.
in Oklahoma. Good
Yeah.
segue. Yeah. So
Good say.
so essentially Footloose, y'all fill in details, but Footloose is a story of a dude from Chicago named Ren who moves to this small town in Oklahoma called Beaumont, and is kind of facing challenges after losing his dad has left his family, meets all these people, gets to used to their town. That was a horrible description of what happened. Say, take it away.
I do think it's also a story about the town itself. They
Yes.
banned dancing because this town has gone through a lot, but there's a lot to relate to in the small town vibes
Mhm.
that it has. It has everybody watching you and kind of what that bubble does to people. And I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of conversation on mob mentality and how that kind of evolves in a community. And then we have a new person that comes in
Mhm.
and how that affects everybody and stirs everything up, but also a new person that's very observant to what's going on and
Yeah.
intentionally, unintentionally, how you interpret it does plan to shake up things.
Absolutely. That was glorious.
I did.
Applause.
Yeah.
Applause.
Well done.
Look
Okay.
at you, Lauren.
Someone did their homework.
Yes.
I did write like a very long background for my character. It's fine.
Speaking of characters, who do we think in this room is most like their character and least like their character?
Least.
Yeah.
Elaborate on that. I would
Yeah,
I would
I
say
agree.
I would say it's both of you because you're way smarter than your characters.
Oh,
Thanks.
okay, thanks. My character's not the dumbest guy. He's just kind of dumb.
Okay, type.
Yeah.
That's a type.
So tell us, what are your characters like?
So I play Willard in the show, and Willard's he's a pretty down to earth guy. Goes by everything his mama says, even though she's crazy. And he's not the brightest. He doesn't say the most words, especially around girls. But like, he's a guy you could trust. He's pretty reliable, and he helps Ren out quite a bit throughout. There's a whole song about him helping Ren figure out what he's gonna say in the end. So it's pretty fun. So I think he's I relate to him a lot, but also I get, I'm not the dumbest guy either, but that's debatable.
So maybe like your values sound similar, but not your intellect and how you approach those values. potentially.
My mannerisms are a bit different than he is.
I'm really fast. Sorry. Are the brownies burning?
We're multitasking at a party.
The live studio audience.
Yes, live studio audience.
Making brownies.
Well, so to segue from what you said about love interests and like being not as good around women, your love interest. Audrey, want to tell us about your character and how you don't relate to her sometimes or do?
Sure. I play Rusty, who is Ariel, Lauren's character's best friend, and Tate Willard's girlfriend, not girlfriend. It's unclear. It's complicated.
You have to find out by seeing where they're staying.
Who knows what happens?
It's complicated. But yeah, I always say that Rusty may not be book smart, but she's street smart, She knows what's happening. It's 1984. She's a Black person in a small Oklahoma town. Racism is sure rampant.
For sure. The 80s.
She's just trying to survive,
Give your background that you came up with for your mom and one.
Oh, yeah. I said that the only reason that, no one's been truly racist towards Rusty is that her mom's the town beautician, and all the women are probably afraid that if any of their kids say anything to her, that their mom will mess up their hair. So,
True. And also, she probably knows all their secrets.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Blackmail. Yeah. Okay, well, from the three of us, who's most like their character?
Probably you. I mean, minus the dance.
Yeah, Brent, you don't dance.
Oh, elaborate. Not just on the dancing, but just in general. I'm curious. Because that's not what I would have said.
I mean, I don't know. Ren is, as my character says, sort of smart, but you're very smart. But
Thank you.
I think from the intellectual side, you for sure like your character. Your character is very self-aware, but I also see what you're saying of maybe not the other factors, not so much.
Like, I would describe Ren as incredibly charismatic and smooth. I think that I can have charisma, but it's not through my smoothness.
That's kind of
it's from my I don't know.
endearing.
Yeah.
You're very endearing. And
Mhm.
he's like, and he's from Chicago. I don't know.
I was born in Chicago, so
Oh, sorry.
It's the same, man.
it's like, is Ren smooth? Because,
I
who would think you say?
he was
Yeah, let's go back to the arrows.
Anyway, next person.
I think it's also he's kind of a bad boy. He's kind of a rebel, and I don't think that's
Yeah.
your shtick.
I think my thing is I do like breaking rules that are stupid, but I have to
Yeah.
understand them and like break them down
Yeah.
and make a new rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little bit like my character.
Yeah, elaborate.
Please.
Not
curious.
in all of the
I'm
ways.
curious.
So how are you or aren't you? would
I
you
do.
say?
I the fact that she is very much like kind of against the authority figure. Also, I do think that there's a lovely passage. The relationship that she has with her father is similar to a relationship I have with my mother, and I love the ending where they both come to this understanding and respect for each other. Not to give it away, but just like there's a plot, there's a nice arc
Nice arc.
there that I think a lot of just in general teenage girls will relate to.
Mhm.
Of you go through this time of wanting to be an adult. I think also as being an adult and then coming into this role and looking back, you kind of go, oh, that was really stupid as a child. Like I was not an adult. And the people in her life love her dearly and just want to help her. And she is so bound to be independent that I think she doesn't realize what's hurting herself a lot of the time. And I definitely see parts of my youth in that.
I think that a lot of people can relate to that part. With
I
her,
think
for
that's
sure.
yeah, I think that's a lot. And also this is a character that I do play a lot.
It goes to your casting type.
It does go to my casting type, so I don't know if that's most like my character, but most what I usually play.
That's fair. What about you, Chloe? How do you feel about Earlene?
So I think it's an interesting character as I get to develop a lot of it because there's not a lot of it that's given to you from like backstory in the script.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of what the directives have done with it as well. But I think one way that I relate to her is I am kind of like me and Wendy Jo tend to be with each other for most of the show, and she's like the youngest of the group. And I think a lot of times especially in like college and stuff, I tend to like be kind of like the mom friend of like groups and stuff and always have like the little ones. And I think Earlene is kind of like that in a way of like she's trying to like set a good example for Wendy Jo, but she's also trying to figure out what's going on in the town herself and trying to figure out what's going on with her friends and what's going on with the new boy. And she knows, she's very observant, but I don't think she's always quite like in the know. I think she's a couple steps behind sometimes when it comes to being in like direct relationship with some of the other characters.
Makes sense.
But like I think I also relate to that of just kind of like being more of an observer. So yeah.
I hear you. And it's also nice because that's good for the audience to have a character of that perspective, so that they can kind of observe what's happening along with them. So I think like the trio a lot of times is like the audience.
Yep, like
being
audience
able
like,
to
on
observe.
stage.
Absolutely.
They know as much.
Absolutely.
I also love the dynamic of that trio because like that's a very girl group trio of like two besties that now have joined.
Two
And-
others.
Yeah, and like they are a group, but there's very
There's different cliques.
yeah,
It's very
even
high
with
school.
it, yeah, it gets very
Mhm.
of like
Like, within the clip.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Exception.
Clickception.
Well, I've always taken it as like Rusty and I grew up together, and then we got to high school and like met you guys, and now we have this. I also kind of think that Rusty, you, Willard, and I all kind of grew up, but then when we hit puberty, like we kind of were like bye because like it got weird
I feel
between
like you two left Willard.
That's
because
exactly
Willard
Willard
doesn't know what's going on.
doesn't have a clue.
Willard was like,
He's just
oh,
like,
we're not playing in the dirt anymore.
All right.
Mud pies?
I'll go eat a worm. I don't know.
He needs a friend. That's why he like
Yeah.
relates with Ren. He needs a
I
friend.
think the first like experience together in the show isn't fabulous, but he's just like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Yeah,
Alright,
like,
I
all right.
guess.
Why do you think that Ren and Willard become friends so quickly?
I think so. Willard's inclination is to fight, and Ren is kind of like the opposite. He wants to fight like more with words. Willard's very physical because he doesn't have many words in his vocabulary to use.
Fair.
I never
But-
thought of that parallel.
But
Yeah.
like, I think Ren, I think Willard kind of just sees Ren as like I don't know, like a friend to have because just like, oh, I kind of relate to you in a way that
Yeah.
I don't normally relate with all my other friends. Like you look at everyone else that Willard has, like the one scene, like Bickle, Jarvin.
The names.
They're,
are so
sorry, the
good.
names are pretty synonymous with just nothing. But
But
those
Trash.
They're not,
Bickle, not to be confused with the Puff character from Barbie Princess movie.
No.
That's what
Oh,
I
Of
thought it
course,
was.
of course not.
That's where my mind went.
Go there and tell us now.
Obviously, that's what I was thinking of.
For sure.
For sure. But like those friends they're much different. They're more like Willard. Ren is like the opposite of Willard, which is something that I think
Yeah.
catches his attention. Because like the first interaction they have, don't want to spoil, but like the first interaction they have, Willard is shocked. He's like, "What? What? Huh? I'm not used to that kind of reaction to what I've
Quite
done."
an entrance to a friendship. That's all we have to say.
And then eventually, it just a musical number gets in there. We just have a bunch of fun, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, he's like, "I guess we're just friends now."
I think that's kind of fair. I think your assessment of like
Yeah.
they're very opposite, but they kind of need each other to navigate this society that you were mentioning of like everyone's watching you. You need support.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I'm curious as we think to the story. Is there a part of like your kind of character arc, either in terms of like the acting or the singing or the dancing, that you find the most difficult? At least currently, we're still in rehearsal right now, but with where we're at, I think mine is the scene you just mentioned. That's a hard dancing song for
is.
me to do. It's a lot
It's a lot,
as a non-dancer.
and it's a lot for me too. You know, I just got to stand there. That's pretty
True.
crazy.
Mhm.
I kind of parallel too. Like, so Willard can't dance. That's like a big plot point in the show. And they had me dancing a couple times, and I'm just like, can Willard do this? And
Mhm.
so,
It's like the magical illusion.
Magical
Exactly.
illusion of theater.
yeah, I'm like, yeah, I can dance.
They talk about that though, like if you listen to like the history of Footloose, like they were like, yeah, it's part of the illusion because that's a lot of people are like, wait, what? But it is part of like
What
just
did we
like the.
Yeah, didn't he just dance? What's his problem?
They were like,
So-
well, they all talk about. They were like, how do you have a musical with a town that can't dance?
Uh-huh.
Like that
And why
is
is
like
everyone good at dancing?
Mhm.
But Willard.
Yeah. Yeah. Were you saying to like something that was challenging for you related to that, or is that just the
That's
challenge?
just a challenging character point
Aspect.
to get my head
To get-
around is to think, how do I make it look like I can't dance,
Yeah.
but also I'm dancing?
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's a good way to approach a character.
Totally fair. What about the rest of y'all? What's the part that you think is the hardest so far?
I think for me right now, it's holding out for a hero actually, because that is cardio while
It
singing
is.
in
It is.
four parts.
It is.
Also,
It's so hard.
I'm usually out of breath, and I'm like, "Nah, this is not going to sound good because I can't breathe."
But by the time y'all watch, it's
by
going to
the
be
show.
amazing.
Yeah.
And it,
Right
it
now,
already
it's
looks good.
awesome.
It already
It
looks good.
does. It's putting it together now. But
Mhm.
that, and I think that's all of mine is like, I just have a lot of numbers where I do a lot of physical things and then belt, and then I have to run backstage, get to the other side. So I'm still running, run back on, and then in a few short minutes,
Do a scene.
do another dance number.
It definitely is a cardio show.
It's a cardio show.
Yeah.
And I know like probably most of you watching have seen some theater stuff before, at least a little. If you're watching the Only Child Energy podcast, right?
You're a theater
Um,
kid. That's
But that is maybe something that's not always obvious when you see a final product which people don't look out of breath.
yeah. I know once
It's
we
hard.
get it, because you'll find the spots to take breath.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't know where my spots are going to
I'm really
Yeah.
just
I don't
focused
remember where
on.
my arm goes next.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really just focused on like, how do I look? Where's my arm going? Where are my legs doing? Oh, we're jumping now. Oh, okay.
What's the next lyric? What's my
Oh, I'm
face
on the
doing?
ground. That's my thing right now. I'm on the ground.
And don't forget 3-part harmony now.
4-part. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Luckily, I do get to sing with you guys on the 3-part, and especially at the finale. I'm just singing with you all a different part.
Yeah. So lots of cardio.
Lots of cardio.
Cardio is the through line. Lots of cardio. Lots of cardio.
That's something we can all agree on.
That unites us.
I still think we should all go like run in the park and sing all
Oh
our
my
songs.
God.
I'm not
Gosh.
running.
That's fair.
And then Brent, our scene with Matt as well. Whenever
Let's hear
I
it for the
learned
boy.
how to dance, that's
That dance is very
Oh,
hard.
that's
Actually-
hard.
You're not done learning.
And we still haven't figured it all out.
Yeah, that is hard. We're doing what are those things? The
Coffee grinding.
coffee.
Oh,
Look up what a coffee grinder is and see if you could do 4 of them after you've already done a whole lot of stuff. Probably not. It's hard.
And
do
then
a back
immediately
roll,
stand up
and
out
then
of it.
immediately
Yeah.
start to keep going. And at least we don't have to sing though. That's like if we had to sing,
That's
not
just
happening.
me.
Yeah. Audrey does the singing. We do the dancing. Nice. Okay, y'all. One little more question before we end for today. Why should people come see our show? Why do people come see Footloose?
To see the cardio payoff.
To see the cardio.
Yeah.
If
Honestly.
I'm doing cardio, somebody better come see it.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think my reason, I have a really fun song. So you should come see that song.
It
It's
is
called
really
Mama
fun.
Said.
Reciprocate.
It's
Mhm.
really fun.
I enjoy that song because I get to sit through most of it and watch you perform, which is very fun.
And I don't have to do much, which is
Mhm.
why it's fun.
Yeah,
But yeah, there's a lot of fun songs. Good songs.
a lot of fun songs. Absolutely.
It's music, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you will know most of the songs,
If you-
probably.
If you like Kenny Loggins and Kevin Bacon, then come see the show.
Good
Those are
for
my
you.
reasons.
That's your. Yeah. What do you think, Chloe? Why should people see our show?
Honestly, it's just a lot of like hardworking cast members and talented people that
Yes.
put a lot of work into this, and I think it's gonna be really good. Honestly, like just in general as a production, it's gonna be really good.
I think so too. I think like from a story perspective, there's so much that goes on. Like if you want a love story, there's multiple beautiful love stories. There's like 3 pretty dominant love stories happening. If you like drama, if you like conflict, if you like sticking it to the man, if you like dancing, if you like it kind of has everything.
Yeah.
And I also think it's deeper than people think too. I think it's a deeper show than people might initially think about. And now we're all thinking about the depth.
Yeah. And it's in the 80s.
And it's in the 80s.
In the 80s.
80s costumes.
80s costumes. Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Sure, man.
It is for the dance thing.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, y'all, if you want to, again, if you're in the area and you want to see Footloose, I'm going to look at the dates again. April 19th to 26th, Junction City Opera House. Info will be in our description today. But thank you all for watching this special episode. Thank you, guests, for being here. Thank you, Chloe.
Yes.
Thank you for staying.
Thank you,
And
guys.
thank you, live studio
Yes,
audience.
time for our live studio audience.
Making brownies, you know?
All right, yeah.
Studio audience participation.
Yeah, it's so perfect. Well, y'all, if you like what you're watching with us, please subscribe. Please give us comments of stuff you want to see, or again, if you, everything you think. We'll see you on our next episode.
Smooth.
Yeah, it's so smooth.
So smooth. Like
Bye, y'all.